welcome to the Dice Tower. I'm Wendy Yee.
Jason Levine, the gaming machine.
And I'm Roy Canady.
The Canada, he can today.
I can today.
Share his top, what is this, 30 through 21?
30
I'm
through
gonna do my
21.
30 through 21.
That's a good choice.
We're getting into the final quarter. In the middle of this, we'll be in the final quarter.
We're in the final third.
We're in the final third.
Final
third down.
And then halfway through, we're in the final fourth down.
Speaking of final.
Is that football?
Final countdown.
Yes.
Let's talk about the World Series of Board Gaming. Let's talk about that thing. All right, so the World Series of Board Gaming in September in Viva Las Vegas, my sweet hometown. Very nice, quaint little place. There's going to be the World Series of Board Gaming. This is where you can enter these awesome big competitions to win rings and great prizes. These are tournaments for board games you love, like Heat. And what else did I see on that list?
Arc Nova with the
Yeah.
special map, Heat with the special maps.
There's lots of really good stuff on there.
Yes.
And we actually have a couple of the ring winners from last year. So we have, what are their names? They're coming to the Summer Spectacular in 2 weeks.
And also, if you could use the World Series of Board Gaming link in the description.
Yes.
That lets the World Series of Board Gaming know that you heard it here first.
That's right.
Yes.
All right, so we have Patrick Marry Me. He didn't marry me because I was already married. He was the ring winner for Cascadia. And then we have Scott Kushner, the ring winner for Seven Wonders. They're actually coming to our Summer Spectacular in 2 weeks. So we get to have them as special guests, which is exciting.
I
is gonna be fun.
know.
Yeah.
It's, it's the final ring down.
No.
Do you think they're going to make us kiss the ring or no?
Sha-la-la-la-la,
Kiss the
don't be
ring.
shy, you got the moves to try, you gotta kiss the ring. That doesn't work either.
Are they going to come with the
It's a
rings?
veil.
Are they going to come with the rings? I want to see what these rings are like.
I
On
think if you
that
win the
note-
World Series of Board Gaming, you're not allowed to take the ring off.
You have to shower with it?
I did play Dune Imperium because I was preparing for my tournament for the Dune Imperium Uprising tournament or whatever that I was doing with the Mr. Beast people. I played with several ring winners of Dune, extremely good players, and like a couple of them had their rings or whatever. One guy had a bracelet for winning like the whole thing, and I'm like, I'm unmatched here. We all got to 9 points, and then one person pushed over. No, we all got to 10 points, and one person pushed over to 11. And I was very
Nice.
proud to be in the running with all these amazing ring winners. They didn't make me kiss the ring, though.
If I just make you a ring, will you wear it? Like
As
a
long
big
as it looks like the
fancy
Dune popcorn
blingy-
bucket. No, I'm kidding.
100%. All right, well, on that note, let's go ahead and get started.
How many times does Chris play Magic in a day?
How many future grandchildren will Tom Vassal have? How many minutes does Z play a game?
I want to say 30?
Can we do this top 100 in 30 minutes?
I don't think we should try.
I don't think
people,
that's gonna
People will probably
happen.
be disappointed
Yeah.
This
if
game
we
is
just
not
said,
30
and this
minutes.
game this, and this game this.
Okay, well, my number 30 is not a 30-minute game, but it is a great game, and it is new to me last year. This is Barcelona.
Oh, nice.
So Board and Dice is just one of those companies I really, really love. And I was sitting there debating. I was like, which one do I really love more from last year? Nucleum, Barcelona. I loved them both, but I think this one just squeezed ahead. So you have this really cool action selection grid where when you choose an action, you choose a place, you pay a cost if there's a cost, but then you get to take any action or the action that's like associated with the top and the side, so the row and the column action. And sometimes if it's in the middle, you get that diagonal action too, the little trolley action. So there's just a lot of cool stuff that you're doing. You're working up building these buildings while trying to maintain this, I don't remember his name, Lacerda? Vicerda?
Vital Lacerda?
No, it's not Vital Lacerda. It's just Cerda, right? I always get it confused with Lacerda, so it's Cerda. You like maintain the Cerda track, and he really likes building buildings for the more common people instead of like the aristocracy. And so you're always trying to balance, like you want these big, awesome buildings, but also you want to maintain high on that track because it's a lot of scoring. Just the round structure is cool. There's just a lot of really good Euro mechanisms in this. I really love this. Why are you looking at Roy?
I was looking at Roy.
He's not played this.
I haven't played this one either.
Oh, you haven't?
No.
Jason.
So, at Dice Tower East last year, which, by the way, is sold out now. Yay. But you can still go on the wait list if you want. At Dice Tower East, this is when Board and Dice was showing it off, but I was so busy with the vendors. I never got a chance to play it because I was handling the vendor room.
Well, maybe this Dice Tyrese you can play.
So hopefully I'll get to play it. I know they're going to have newer games, like Nucleum came out since then. But this is one that I missed when it came out, so I didn't get to play it. But I really want to because I've heard really good things about it.
Yeah, that's just the hard thing about our industry as reviewers is just sometimes you miss something and then you just miss it for good, right?
Exactly,
So-
exactly. Until someone says at a convention, hey, do you want to play it with us to learn it? And I'm like, yeah, of course, let's do it.
Yeah. No, it's a very good one.
So my number 30 actually does play in 30 minutes.
Yeah.
It really does.
Look at you. You planned ahead, didn't you?
I did not plan ahead, but it works out perfectly. We've talked about another game in the line earlier in this, and this is one that I enjoy. I think I enjoy it the most out of the whole series. It's called Inside Job. And it fits with the crew. I know it's not called The Crew, which if I was Cosmos, I would have called it The Crew Inside Job.
What, you're trying to like break the submarine in the space station?
So in this one, it's a hidden traitor game.
Yeah.
So one person or multiple people, depending on what roles you use, are trying to mess with completing the missions, and everyone else is trying to complete the mission. And if you could figure out who's trying to mess with the missions, you could win by saying, hey, you've been messing with our missions, you're the traitor, we win anyway. Or you could win by solving missions if the traitor's not very good, or the traitor could win by messing up enough missions to win and taking tricks. Yeah. And the cool thing is the traitor has this power to play off suit no matter what. The traitor can pretend they're out of a suit and just trump in and do whatever. And it's really works well. And it for me, it took the crew to a next level to have all these new mechanics in it.
Oh, that's funny because I did not like this one.
Yeah, that's
Really?
weird. That tracks because you're saying you don't really like bluffing and deduction that much, and Jason like loves that stuff.
Well, I felt like this was really hard to win tricks.
Oh, you
like
think?
it was a game that was hard to beat anyways. And so you throw in that betrayer, and they just made it even harder to win.
Oh, really?
That's at least how the couple times I played it. That's how I felt.
I felt like it was very interesting the times that I played. I think I played at Dice Tower West. Maybe it was a couple years ago or something.
It was at our ice cream party.
Yeah, the ice cream party.
Because I brought it. That was when Cosmos, they had a demo copy only, and I brought the demo copy up for the ice cream party.
I thought it was really fun. I mean, it was interesting, but I don't care for trick taking that much, but I really enjoy social deduction. So I really enjoyed the aspect of like, who's the one trying to be sneaky? Who's the person trying to do the thing? And let's work together. Like we're a team trying to work together to complete these things. But one of us is bad, and be like, I think the way you're playing was kind of sketchy. It's kind of fun to me. So I really enjoyed Inside Job, but did not make my list. My number 30 is an Emerson Matsuuchi game, probably my favorite Emerson game, and this is Spectre Ops. I really enjoy this hidden movement game with special powers. It's just a very straightforward hidden movement game of you have these agents, they're trying to break into this evil facility, and there's all of these basically security guard hunters. They're trying to hunt you down and stop you from stealing the technology. You have kind of like the rogue like hacker type person. It's all very cyberpunk-ish kind of like in its vibe, and I really enjoy the way the game comes together. It's just fun with that whole like line of sight mechanic and sneaking around, and you can be like not move at all if you want to. And this is another hidden movement game where like if you get found out, you don't just immediately lose the game. They have to find you, and then they can attack you and jump on you and hit you back. And it's kind of cool to like see the hunters work together with all their powers. It's very much like a super puzzly game as you're trying to figure out, okay, they went here, they were there, we saw them, they crossed our line of sight, but they used this action card, which could have like tricked us a little bit, It's all these interesting plays, and it always comes down to the wire with they've got their missions and they're running for the door. We block this entrance. Okay, let's go block that entrance. Okay, now they're going for the last entrance, and you're trying to like figure out a way to like beat them there. Man, I love Spectre Ops, and this is one that I need to get to the table even more, and that might be why it's slipping a little bit, but I really, really enjoy this game.
I played this once. There's like a car that you can like climb in.
There is a car that you can
drive
move
around.
around.
And it's kind of interesting too because the car has like a heat tracker thing on it or like a sensor on it that lets you know whether they're like in this area or that area or that area. So you can like where you move the car to can help you figure out where the person is. It's such a great puzzle game. I really love it.
It's like the Ghostbusters car going around like sensing for ghosts. And
yeah, basically.
It works, and I love that there's multiple good people you could play. There's multiple villains as well.
It has a lot of replayability.
It
And
has
it has a ton
lot.
of different special abilities that you have, or special cards you have. You can throw
Yes.
smoke grenades to mess up line of sight. You can do stuff that, like adrenaline boost so you can run faster. There's all sorts of cool things you can do to like mix up the game, you know. But yeah, that's my number 30, Spectre Ops.
That is great. I love these videos. They make me so happy. I love people's creativity. All right, my number 29 is an awesome party game. I feel like I've got quite a few party games on this list. So this is Inked in Gold. This is one that I really enjoy playing with a group of people. When we have like a family over for dinner and we want to introduce them to a game, and we don't know if they've gamed much, you know what I mean? Like it's a good feeler outer game. Like, this is a cool thing you can do with board games that's not Uno. So this is a push your luck game. You're going into a temple, and everyone has this moment at the end of each round where they decide, are they going to stay in the temple and push farther, or are they going to leave and grab treasure as they exit? The problem is you have to share that treasure if you exit the same time that other people do. So it's like this simultaneous decision making. But I just love this one so much. It's got a good, like, higher player count for a typical game, so it fits that like our family plus another family kind of thing. And then I just really enjoy that push your luck element, because the worse you're doing in this game, the more you have to push. And so you just really like, you go neck and neck, and sometimes you can have some amazing reveals. You're like, bam, I get 15 like things right at once. I get 15 jewels. That's great. So there's some really cool moments. There's those moments where you're like, yes, I snuck out just in time before everybody else failed. So I like this one a ton.
This was my 58, so there is a Roy and Wendy crossover. We do like some of the same games.
It's a miracle.
It's amazing.
I love this one too, and I talked about it last time. I'm the person who always stays in. I'm like,
Oh, yeah.
I'm going to get 40 at once, or I'm going to get 0 every
it's
time.
so much fun.
Every time. It's a lot of fun.
Go for the gold, baby.
My number 29 is not a party game. Well, I guess some people might call it a party game, but I doubt it. This is one that is heftier. It has little woodland creatures.
Is it
and
Root?
it is Root, yes.
Definitely a party game.
Definitely a party game for...
All you had to say was woodland creatures. I was right on board.
if you
It
wanna-
could have been a lot of games with that description, but I picked the right one.
Yes, I love Root. I love the asymmetry of it. I love that it took a nice system, the coin system from GMT, and made it into an accessible game for casual gamers as opposed to war gamers. Just everything about this is great, and it's one that no matter what, you can play it. There's always new factions coming out. There's always new content for this as well. It's just a solid game overall.
I would say, I don't know if I would say it's like specifically for casual gamers. It's still a very thinky, like in-depth game, and with all the asymmetry in it, it can be a little bit of a bear to teach. But I do know the app helps with that a lot, because it'll run you through every little thing. But it is cool to have so many different factions that are so different. This was a crossover with me as well, so I really enjoy Root. I forget which number it was. Oh, it was my 76. So yeah. My number 29 is a super simple worker placement game, and this is based off an actual app, which is based off of a video game, but you think this game shouldn't work,
Which is
but
based
it does.
on real life.
Hopefully not based off real life, not anytime soon. This is Fallout Shelter.
Oh yeah, definitely.
I really enjoy Fallout Shelter. I just remember the very first time we played this. It comes in this tin, and it looks like it's based off of an app. And we're like, I love the Fallout world, but I don't know if this is going to work. And it just works so well. And it's ridiculously simple. Like, it's ridiculously simple.
I'm amazed this is your 29.
I really enjoy this game. I played a lot with my kids. I played it with, a lot with a bunch of different people. I really do like the Fallout IP a lot.
Yeah, you do.
So that helps with this. And this is probably like my favorite Fallout IP game, just because the other ones are not nearly as good. But it's just a simple game of, I like the fact that you have all these monsters that are coming into your shelter, and you get to fight off the monsters, and you get like morale or whatever, because you're trying to make your people happy for points in this game. And you get morale for actually like fighting off the monsters. You get morale for like like actually building out your different Fallout Shelter levels. And it's cool because it's like it gives you a little bit of vibe of Lords of Waterdeep as you're building out your own shelter levels, and when people use them, then you get resources. I love that part of the game as well. And you get to get weapons and blow things up, which is also fun to see in a worker placement game, you know. So I really enjoy Fallout Shelter. Have you played this one?
I have, yes.
Yeah, super simple.
When it
It's
came out a
ridiculously
few
simple.
years ago, but not recently. But now you make me want to bring it back to the table again.
Yeah, it's one of those. I mean, this one is extremely casual game. It's like a really, really simple worker placement game that I feel like I've played it with my kids, you know. So I think you can play it with basically anybody. So yeah, Fallout Shelter, my number 29.
All right, number 28 for me is another party game because, like I said, this is all about the party, man. A third, whatever, the top third of my list is all about partying. It's great stuff. All right, this one is Ink and Gold. This was 51.
We just did Ink and Gold.
Oh, I just looked at the wrong one. So Clover, also party game. Yeah, right, no, I just moved over wrong. This was 96 last year. I've just played this so much. It's moved up on my list a ton. I'm trying to figure out, is this my favorite word game? And then what is the genre of word game? Because I have other party games on this list. But I hear there might be a crossover in their future.
No, I mean, it was already crossover back at like 96 or whatever. Me
okay.
and Wendy like the same party games.
We do.
Sometimes.
Sometimes, as long as you're not social deduction. But I love this. So you have that clover in the middle, you place out words, and then you have to come up with a word, a clue word that's going to get people to associate those two words together and put them there so that you have the proper order. This is one that I love because people can come in and come out. It's a great convention game at the end of the night. When someone's like, I want to play, but I don't want to invest myself in a lot of time. You're like, yeah, come do one of these clovers. We'll make a bunch. Stick around as long as you want, and then you leave. Someone else will come in, and if they don't, it's okay. Two of us can play. Like, it's just so much fun. I love coming up with those words and seeing how people's brains tick as you're like trying to be like, oh, ornamental. Are they thinking Christmas? Are they thinking like shrubbery? You know, what are they thinking here? I like all that.
I'm trying to see if there's shrubbery on one of those cards.
I couldn't see what the little words were. I was only the big ones.
I really enjoy this game also. We and it works for all ages. So we were at the Big Game Bash, which we're going again this weekend, at the last one, and Joey was like, hey, there's a bunch of the youth group teens over there. Do you want to show them something? So I brought over So Clover, and we played with all the teens, and it went over very well. And you know, it's the kind of game, it works with everyone. I really enjoy this one a lot.
I love these party games that you can just bring out and play with basically almost anyone.
Yes.
It's just really cool to like, and the cooperative ones especially, you know, it's like, oh, you don't have, there's no real pressure there, you know, it's just like we're working together. Everybody wants you to do well. It's not like like some of these trivia ones where someone's hoping you mess up. The cooperative ones are really fun. Like you just get to, you know,
We're just all working together, having
working
a good
together,
time.
and the cleverness of like fitting the square cards in there is just great.
And sitting there going, oh, I think it's fur.
Discussion
No,
is
it's
fun,
this.
yeah.
And just watching everyone else guess your words, and you sit there trying not to smirk when they're doing something.
The pain. When they say something, they're like, no, it couldn't be. And you're like, yes.
Yes, it
definitely
is.
could be.
Yes, it is.
Definitely do that one.
It's the best. So my number 28 is not a party game, but it's a game that I can play with some people. Probably Wendy. I hope. It's one that's not older, but I think it's over 10 years old now. I think it's over 10 years old now. And there's been reprints of it. There's been new versions of it. There's an even newer version that just came out recently. It's Terra Mystica.
Okay.
And
I played this once.
I absolutely adore this game. Obviously it's been redone with Gaia Project, and then with Age of Innovation is the most recent version of it. And
Did you have Gaia Project on your list before?
I did not.
Okay.
I only have this one
Did
because
you lump it all together?
I love all of them. I love Gaia Project. I love the new version.
You think Terra Mystica is still your favorite out of the group, though?
Probably because I know you would probably like Gaia Project more because it's in space.
I haven't played any of these. I feel like I
Space
should
and
try
tracks.
them at least once. I know they're like a heavy Euro-heady game or whatever, but I still
But they're very asymmetrical.
feel like I should try it,
You should.
Just to be able to
It's-
say I have,
It-
basically. I don't know.
You would like it. It's an asymmetrical game. Everyone has very different powers, and you want to be closer to other people because if I'm building close to you, I get stuff when you build and you get stuff when I build. So it's good for both of us to be close to each other.
Let's terraform the land
And-
together.
And I know it's a weird comparison, but it's got a very scythe feel where as you're building out your stuff, you're revealing things underneath it to get more power. So it's got a very scythe kind of feel.
Oh,
Of
gotcha.
The
Like
way
engine building.
Unlocking stuff.
the way you
engine building.
unlock stuff as you go.
Okay.
It's a very good game.
My number 28 is a real-time game where you get to blast away. I like games where you get to blast things away. This blast away all these aliens as they're trying to take over your base and come for you and destroy your ship. This is Project Elite. Project Elite is a crazy, zany, real-time game, and this basically completely replaced Escape Curse of the Temple for me.
Yes.
I enjoyed Escape Curse of the Temple. I thought it was fun, but you don't get to blow up aliens in that. This, you get to chuck aliens. You're still trying to go out there and complete different tasks that are out there in the middle of all these hordes of aliens. You have tons of different characters with lots of different special abilities, especially if you have some of the like Kickstarter, like exclusive stuff. You have lots of different choices of the characters you're going to play, lots of crazy aliens and different bosses to fight up against. Basically, you're chucking dice, which some dice allow you to move, some dice allow you to attack, some dice allow you to do different things, like part of doing the mission and things like that, or reload your weapons. And then one face of the dice just makes you move monsters, which doesn't seem that terrible, except when you keep rolling it and they just keep coming, it can be pretty bad. And then you're just trying to not get attacked. If the monsters end up pushing you at all, you end up taking damage, and it can lock up your dice, which is a terrible thing. But you're all working together cooperatively to get out there, fight the monsters back, and then complete these different missions that are out on the board. If any of the monsters get into your base, which they're all siphoning into your base, and get to like the door, then you lose the game, just straight up. So it's just a cooperative game where you get to chuck tons and tons of dice. You're throwing plastic miniatures off the board, and then putting them all back on, and then throwing them off the board again. It's a blast. I love Project Elite.
This is like fun, chaotic.
Chaotic fun.
And it's hard. It's hard as a new player though because you don't have anyone there to hold your hand because it's just like
Right.
free for all, go.
You're just going.
But after the first round, I feel like people are like, got it.
Yeah, like-
chuck dice
Yes.
and then attack as many times as possible. And one of the cool things is like sometimes the bad guys moving towards you is a good thing because your weapons only have a certain amount of range. So it's like, move them closer to me, killed. Move them closer to me, killed. Move them like you're just like a weed eater as they're just like
It's-
running into you. You know, you're like they bring in more aliens for the blender.
It's such a good game. I mean, I remember when this first came out, and
I never played the original company's version. I've only played the CMON version, but the miniatures are fantastic.
yeah, the original, obviously the miniatures weren't as good as SEMA miniatures, but I remember when this first came out and me and Tom played it and we're like, this is so good. And we said the exact same thing. This escape is gone. This is so much better.
Yeah.
And it just works. And I love that you're a team and you're working together and you're just trying to fight everything as you go.
Awesome. And that is my number 28, Project Elite.
Number 27.
Mom, Dad bought more Marvel United. He's in my room.
Does he have 27 boxes of Marvel United?
You just gotta hide the board games under the kid's bed. Like nobody's gonna look under there.
The
Yeah.
bed like sits on it. Like there's not
Right.
even a bed frame anymore. It's just board game boxes and a mattress.
There you go.
That's
27
how
boxes.
my family did food storage. We just had tubs of food storage everywhere.
Well, it's good for a
My-
midnight snack too. You know.
You know, when I want some split peas that are dry.
Where's my can opener?
That's great. Okay, my number 27 is my favorite game from last year, and this is Evacuation. Jason, have you played this one?
No, I haven't played this one either.
Jason!
I know we picked it up at Essen, and I was at the Delicious booth getting it at Essen, in fact.
Okay.
And I haven't.
This is one of those games where I absolutely disliked my first play of it because the main core rules that they have is like this race to escape from a planet to the new planet Earth, and you lose all these points for everybody you left behind. But it's a race, so you're like, I gotta get there fast. And then there's like actual round structure kind of stuff in this appendix in the back, And that was way better because you can really enjoy the game. And it honestly is like half a round longer. It removes that race element.
Oh, interesting.
But what you're doing, you're trying to evacuate this old planet that's dying and create a new world on a new planet. So you have two separate resource systems that only once around can you shuttle one thing over to the new world, like one set of stuff to the new world, and each one of your ships can hold different types of resources in different quantities. And so you're trying to evacuate people over there, as well as actually your stuff that like builds up your different resources, your steel and your plants and like those kind of things. And so you're building this new economy, but also you have to keep people happy. So you have to build them like happiness structures, like arenas. That's the word I'm looking for. Yeah. So you have to build these arenas to make them happy so they can have entertainment in their new world. So it's a fun one. And I just love that like dual resource thing.
And I haven't played this, but and it wasn't in the picture, but doesn't it have some track where like that's kind of the getting from one side to the other and you have to make it a certain amount across the track?
Yeah, depending on how far the track is, depends on how much your progress is and how you can actually spend your heat energy, because you have to spend energy for actions. Yeah.
I would try this. I mean, I know it's very Euro, I'm sure, but I'm always down to at least try a Space Euro.
Yeah,
Space
it's
Euro.
very Euro-y.
Which
But
is
it's fun.
perfect.
It's very tight.
I want to try this one as well. I know it's gonna be my style game, so I'm excited
Yeah.
for it when I do get to play it.
Just play the better rules. My only caveat.
The better rules. So luckily, my next game doesn't need better rules because it's got great rules as is. And I see someone's in our chat, so usually I like to play games with my friends, but every once in a while I like to play a solo game, and this one is delicioso, to say the least. It's Final Girl.
Oh, nice. I get it. It's a solo game.
It is probably at the moment, my favorite solo game. I love horror movies in general. I love the theme of this. I also think the game plays very well. And you get so much content in this because each set, starting from Series 1 now to Series 3, comes with 5 different stories. And each story, like there's a Friday the 13th style story, and there's an Alien style story, and there's The Stranger style story. And there's every horror movie you could think of. If it's not done, it will be done at some point because I hear there's going to be more content after Season 3. So no matter what horror movie you want to be in, and you can mix and match. So you could have the girl from Nightmare on Elm Street going against Michael Myers. You could have, there's so many different mix and match scenarios in this. And as a solo game, it works really well. The system works well in addition.
So I've never actually played this, but I would love to see a Quiet Place version where they actually have like a little Richter scale kind of thing, and you like roll the dice. You have to roll them really soft to not make noise.
All right, my number 27 is another worker placement game. I got so many worker placement games in this little site. There's not that many. It's like 2. But this is another worker placement game where you get to chuck dice and fight things.
But do you chuck them quietly?
No. You have to scream and have Viking outrage in Champions of Midgard. This is a game where you are basically putting your little Vikings out to get dice and get resources to be able to send all of your Vikings out on missions, like on journeys across the ocean to fight big monsters. There's also trolls that you have to fight that are attacking the village or whatever. If you don't help defend the village from the trolls, then you get blame tokens. And if you have a bunch of blame tokens, you get negative points. So if you're able to fight the trolls off, you're able to like skirt away the blame. So you're having to manage blame and manage the trolls and also fight all these different things. The expansion to this made this game even better because now if your dice die, you get little tokens as they go to Valhalla, and you get to use those tokens to be able to get more cards and things like that that kind of help you with building up all of your little engine and things like that, and get points for Champions of Midgard. I just really enjoy this game of like trying to math out like how many Vikings do I need to take across the ocean to beat that bad guy. And I just enjoy that luck element of being able to fight off the bad guy with these different guys and being like, all right, I can load them up, but I also need to have food for them, you know, because if I find a card here and it's like a long journey, I'm going to not have enough food to feed all of my Vikings, you know. This is an interesting aspect back and forth. And Champions of Midgard is an amazing game. It's a lot of fun to play.
I love how like board gamey that sounds when you're like, my person dies in glory, so I can get some tokens.
Yeah, exactly. Gotta get all my stuff.
It is. And fun fact about this one, this was almost a Dice Star Essential. We had looked at it as a Dice Star Essential, but at the time there wasn't a slot in the production schedule to do it.
Gotcha.
So Tom said, hey, Shane, I have this great game for you since you're starting a new company, and we passed us along the Gray Fox, and that was kind of the start of Gray Fox was this game.
Yeah, and it's huge. It's done super well for them. I love Champions of Midgard. I've played it so many times. So much fun. But yeah, my number 27, Champions of Midgard.
All right, my turn. Donkey. Double word score, 26.
I hate this game.
How
Oh my
many Easter
goodness.
eggs are in there? I saw donkey juice. I don't know what other Easter eggs
Oh,
are
I
in
didn't
there.
read it. You missed my pun. I said, oh my goodness.
Oh my goodness.
That's my game is oh my goods. Okay, I
Yes.
love Alexander Pfister, and I love his multi-use card games. And Oh My Goods is such a great everyday game. You know what I mean? A weeknight game. You can play anytime, and it's just a deck of cards, but the cards are your buildings, like your factories. The cards are also the goods that go on top. You basically have this little worker, and this worker can work. He can give you double the production if you happen to get everything revealed that you need. Or you can say, like, let me hedge my bets a little bit. I'm going to work him less efficiently so that I'm more likely to trigger off my building, but he only works one. You only get, like, one good on it. But there's this cool chain system where you can take goods and they progress down this chain. And so if you build the correct cards, you're like, okay, you know, I'm making wheat, I'm making flour out of it, then that flour becomes bread, and then that bread gets put with dinner. You know, there's just some cool things that go on, and so these cool chains that you create, and at the end of the game, you're just like, I'm going to turn all my chains on, and I'm going to move all my cards up and make them worth a ton of money.
This is the game with
And
the
points.
multi-use cows, right?
Yes.
The
Yes.
famous multi-use cows.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah,
It's,
I love this
it's
one.
really good, this game. I really enjoy it as
It is
well.
really good. I agree.
It is.
I agree.
It's and the fact that it's all in a card game, and you know the cards have so many things you do with it. It's a really great thing.
Have you played the little campaign expansion for it?
Yes, I have.
It's fun. It's like a little choose your own adventure. You're like, do
have
we
you-
go with this side or with this side?
Exactly. Have you played the board game version of it?
New Dale?
Yeah.
You know, I did, but I didn't love it as much. I feel like that's one I have to go back to.
Yeah.
try it
I mean,
again.
it takes the essence of this and turns it into a board game,
Like a full game,
very
yeah.
well as well. So my number 26 is, I'm going old school again, like 90s old
wow.
school. Avalon Hill produced a lot of really good games back in the day. They were the company for board games, especially back in the 80s and 90s. And this one was kind of the spiritual successor to Civilization, and it's called Age of Renaissance.
Oh, interesting.
And you guys might like it. It's there's a lot of trading and bartering in the game. So you're kind of going into different areas to, as you control different areas,
I can't see Mike's pun.
I can't see Mike's either, but basically you
There we go. Not the best artwork.
best
nominee.
artwork nominee not. It's not, but the areas are very clear. As you can see, the purple areas are wine areas, the gray areas are metal areas, and you're trying to get, I guess, sets of different areas by area controlling different areas. You're trying to get sets of areas because the more wine you have on a wine card played, you're going to score more because it multiplies. Like a wine is a 5, and then a 25, and then a 80, and then a 125. So the more wine you have, the more you get. Sort of like in Civilization, but instead of doing trading, it's I'll play this card for you if you play it for me, or if you have the card, you just take the areas and then just play the card, and you could get bonuses to level up in different types of areas, so you don't have to necessarily be in them. As you explore further, like the New World areas have multiple different resources in them, and it's basically an economic trading game, and it's, you know, as we call it, the old school of trading in the med.
There we go. You looked so interested, Roy.
I mean, it looks cool. I mean, I'm not sure.
One day
I've never actually heard of it before. That's kind of cool.
one day I'll
I've
bring it
never
out and
heard
we'll
either.
play it. It's very cool.
maybe, just maybe.
Can we retheme it in space?
I'm in.
I could talk to the designers and we can see about retheming it in space.
Yeah, but what are we trading them? We're not doing wine. We're doing
But are they
Stardust.
Are they going to be bees in space?
Maybe.
Then we have to be honey.
Then I'm in.
My number 26, I think this is up, which is wild to me because this is a game that I have a love-hate relationship with in some ways. Mostly because I played a mass amount of it. I played it in tournaments. I've done all sorts of crazy stuff with it. But then at other times I'm like, this game is just way too expensive for me to keep playing. And this is probably up because I played in a pre-release for it for Lord of the Rings version of the game, and that is Magic the Gathering, the original collectible card game. I know everybody has these interesting dynamics of Magic the Gathering. If you like the game, you don't like the game, but I played the pre-release. I played in several pre-releases for this, and I've just always had fun with Magic the Gathering. I drafted cubes at several of our retreats. I used to play this a ton with all of my coworkers and tons of people back in the day, and I've had so much fun playing the game, and that is why it is so high on my list. Just because Magic is just fun to play, you know? I built a bunch of Poplar decks and played that with my son, and it's just the fact of man, Magic just has this element of the fact that you have to have these lands out to play the cards, and sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't, but the whole time there's these interesting, meaningful decisions, and you're trying to set up all of these combos all along the way, and trying to figure out how to control the board and play a deck that just works really well, building those fun decks. It's just but it's extremely expensive, and I play it extremely casually. So finding casual players to play this with is a hard thing to do. But that's why I play, at pre-releases and things like that. So it's not that big of a deal, and there's not that much on the line. But yeah, I've had a blast with Magic the Gathering.
I love Magic. I was playing it when I was in college, and when
Yeah.
I was in college is when it came out. So I had all the black border cards.
Yeah,
I
jealous.
wish I didn't sell them in 1996 because I'd probably be a gazillionaire if I would have
I wasn't allowed
held
to
the
play
cards
Magic the Gathering
now.
because it was of the devil. But I played Redemption.
How old were you it came out in 94? I wanna
Elementary
say.
school.
Yeah, I was
Or
in my
90
elementary school.
I was just in my senior year of college when it came out, and this was all the rage. That's all we were doing. My senior year of college was playing this, and they still had Ante at the time, so you would
that's
win and
crazy
you
to
would
me.
get people's cards, and it was something else. But yeah, I sold it. I bought a bunch, and then I sold it. I still made money.
It does. I'm
but-
sure almost everybody who's gotten into Magic and sold off Magic has stories of man, I sold these cards.
These Black
and how
Lotuses.
much they're worth now is
Yes,
insane. I didn't even
yes.
have that. I had a whole bunch of fetch lands that are all
No.
they were all I bought them all for $10 each back in the day, and now they're worth $75 to $100 each, and there's tons and tons of play sets of all the different ones. It's man, that's a whole lot of money that I wasted.
I
but
had
whatever.
I had the Black Lotuses and
That's
the
crazy.
Moxes, and I sold them for at the time in 1996, which was a few years into the run. I got $10,000 and a Panasonic 3DO with all the games.
Didn't they just say that there was a Black Lotus that was rated a 10 out of 10 or something like that, and it just went for
$500,000 or
no, I
something.
thought it was 3.
Oh, 3 million. It's even that much now.
Dang.
It's crazy.
Yeah, it's
Who's
crazy.
I wish I kept
buying
the stuff.
these?
I don't know,
Collectors.
investors who think that it's going to continue to be worth money
Yeah.
or go up
Yeah.
even more, which is wild.
Yes.
There
Wild.
just comes a point that I just can't comprehend money, and I'm just
Right.
I don't know. I don't
Yeah.
know the difference between 1 and 3 million. My
No,
brain can't
that's
understand.
insane.
either do I.
Not for
Anyway,
fun.
but yeah, that is my number 26, Magic the Gathering.
All right, 3 sevens, baby. Oh, I'm gonna need a 3 and a 4 to make this one work. Well, in the meantime, let's talk about 25.
Ooh.
Okay, I have a roll and write game for my next one, and this is arguably the least roll and write. Roll and write? This is Fox Experiment. You are rolling a ton of dice, and you are writing down stuff that you roll, but there's a whole board and there's a lot of other stuff going on. So I like to call it a roll and write game. One thing I love about Fox Experiment, so you're breeding foxes together, trying to get specific traits so that you can breed out the stuff that you want, and you're just kind of gearing into specific traits, and then you breed the children from those partnerships to other ones, and you breed some more. So it's a lot of just breeding foxes, right? While trying to meet objectives and doing other stuff. But what I really love is that this is one of those games where you start out rolling a couple dice, and you may or may not be able to get very many of those traits that you want. But by the end of like 5 rounds, you're rolling a fistful of dice. You're rolling like 12 to 15 dice. You're just like, bam! And some are wild, and you're like, I can do all the traits all of the time. And there's something that's so beautiful about the way that that just increases. And I love it because that really is, as you're trying to push those traits into genetics, like they just spread, right? And so they're more likely to happen. So I love that. It's so much fun.
You can have the fuzziest foxes.
Fuzzy. With cute ears.
This one was number 75 on my list, so I like it as well. I think this one's great, and I think it's going to have staying power as well.
This one's so high on my list because I played it when we had like a prototypey copy for a live play that we did. I played it a few times and I was like, I really like this. And then I kind of stepped away from it. And then when we got the actual copy in, I played it again and I was like, I still really like this. And so
That's awesome.
It's really fun to come back to and still love a game. And so that's why it's so high on my list.
Yeah, it's great. So my next game is another Euro. I mean, I guess no one's
Shocked.
shocked.
Shocked I am.
Shocked about this.
But does it have a map with water that's blue?
No. So this one has a it has a map, yes, but the map is kind of different. It's kind of a darker map than most maps.
Let's see.
And I was thinking about something because I think you guys know my birthday was my birthday's coming up in 2 days, right?
It was coming up in 2 days.
No, my birthday's coming up in 2 days, and someone
My
else's
birthday was like 2 days
Your
ago.
birthday was like 2 days ago. So
Yeah.
my one of my favorite Euros, Happy Birthday, Roy,
Happy birthday,
Is-
Jason.
birthday to
Last
Roy.
Light.
What?
Yes.
Oh, you're
There's
making
no
fun of the
ocean.
whole Euro thing.
You know how? No, like I've said many times, the card mechanic that you use is so good. The card mechanic of I'm going to play this action, I'm going to play this action, I'm going to play this action, and then I'm going to pick up my actions to score my points is so good, and it's so Euro. I know we joke about is it a Euro, is it a 4X, and
It's a hybrid game.
it's a hybrid. Yes, it truly is a hybrid. And I remember when you showed me this a few years ago, while I was still in very moderately advanced prototype stage. And I said to you at the time, I said, this is a winner. This is going to be such a winner. And sure enough, since then, it's done
I
nothing
didn't
but
realize you
great.
enjoyed it this much. That's awesome, man.
Yes, I did. I do. I've played it more than once. Like without you even, I've played the game. Even though I
awesome.
played it with you, I've played it without you as well. And I really enjoyed it. I mean, you saw other games like Concordia are on my list, and Aquatica would be on my list, except it's Dice Are Essential that we found. But this one, since it's not a Dice Are Essential that we found,
There you go.
I love this mechanic. I love the I guess let's call it a controlled deck builder where you control what cards you want to play. And
I like that better than Rondell.
yeah, I call it a controlled deck builder,
Okay.
is what I call the games like Aquatica, Concordia, Last Light, a controlled deck builder. And
I just got back from BGG and I was shocked by how many copies they had in the library. They had like 6 copies in the library, and then people were playing it everywhere. I was like bouncing from table to table, being like, "Oh, you want help with this? Oh, you want help with that?" And people, it's funny because at Dice Tower conventions, everybody knows who I am. At BGG, there's a lot of people who have no clue who I am. They're like, "Why is this guy asking us if we need help with this game?" I'm like, "Oh, I designed it. I snuck into a game, and they didn't know that I was a designer. We got halfway through the game until someone walked up and was like, "Oh, hey, can you teach me this game later?" I'm like, they're like, "Oh, what are you talking about?" I'm like, "Oh, I actually designed this." They flipped out. It was so much fun. But yeah, I mean, obviously, this is not going to be on my list or on any of my top 10 lists ever. But I'm glad you like it, Jason.
I loved it. I told you that. I told you that from the start how much I loved it, and now you could see how much I actually love it.
That's awesome, man. Well, let's see what the other 25 games above it are. No, I'm just kidding. The other 24 games. I'm just kidding. That's awesome. Cool. Well, my number 25 is my favorite on the list of Gray Fox games.
Gray Fox?
Gray Foxing it up this section. But mine is Deception, Murder in Hong Kong. This is my top rated Gray Fox game. But I just really enjoy and I really love the social deduction in this. The great part about this is it's social deduction that gives you a direction to go. Sometimes social deduction games, you start the round out, you don't really know what's going on, you don't know who the murderer is or who the werewolf is or who the demons are in the village, whatever your game might be. But this one has that forensic scientist who's pointing out all the different clues, putting the little bullets on there, giving you different adjectives of where everything is. And it's just so fun, you know, to be able to play this game and like try to suss out the clues. I love being the forensic scientist. I think it's so much fun to give all those clues. And then it's so much fun just being an investigator, being like, okay, they said this and this, and I think they're trying to point me to that person's stuff, but also at the same time, you're trying to defend your own position because sometimes it might look like it was you, like it wasn't me. But then when you're the murderer, it's also fun because then you're like, I picked the two things. I'm trying to pick two things that blend in with everybody's stuff that they're going to be able to not pinpoint exactly who I am. And then I've had games of this where they knew it was me. They're like, Roy's the murderer. And they're like, we think he did this weapon. And I'm like, yeah, sure, I'm the murderer, but how'd I do it? You know, they had like one vote left. It's like, well, sure, you got me. You got me, but what did I do? And they're like, what is the clue? What is the correct clue? And it was just so fun to see them like struggling, figuring out what the correct like weapon, the murder weapon, and the correct clue to actually win the game was. I'm like, okay, we're gonna do this one first, and then they might have one more vote. Oh, we'll do this one next. Oh, that's it. Okay, I lost, but it's still just so much fun and such tense, exciting moments in Deception Murder Hong Kong. I've had so many fun games. I play this with a wide variety of people too, like with family, with friends, with gamers, during conventions, during like casual game days. It's just a blast.
You like all this social deduction, this hidden movement. Do you have like a secret, like hidden life that we don't know about?
I'm gonna tell you a secret right now. I'm secretly a board game designer sometimes.
Yes, it's a secret board game designer.
Do anime booth things sometimes.
Yes, Deception. I loved it.
But I've never murdered anyone, and definitely not in Hong Kong.
A little fun fact about this one. This was the second game that was almost a Dice Star Essential. That I know Tom's probably kicking himself now that we didn't do this one, but it was the second game that we passed along to Gray Fox, and this was their second game, and this also had done exceptionally well. And then I guess theoretically, Last Light could have been it could have never been a Dice Star Essential because you're part of our team, but
it maybe could have.
That ended up as another game with Gray Fox, and you know Gray Fox has done very well.
That was my fault because I knew Josh, and I went and talked to Josh. So, but yeah, I love Deception Murder in Hong Kong. My number 25.
Number 24.
Oh, it's a baby! Like a
Carcassonne tiles are so delicious.
Oh, yeah. You
Tastes like farmers.
You can't play with that game anymore.
It's a 24. It's a 24 in the scale of deliciousness.
Can you imagine if you had like a My First Carcassonne set and it was just like Carcassonne teething things? Like they're bigger and they're like squishy and plastic.
Or like
That
teething
would
meeples.
be adorable. Oh, I love it. Okay, my number 24. That's what we're on, right? 24. This is a game from a couple years ago, and this is Endless Winter. I love this game. So in this, it is a mix between a deck building game and a worker placement game. And I'm hit or miss with those. Like, I didn't really love Dune Imperium, and I realized why I like this one so much is because the cards don't determine what action I can take, but instead the cards benefit the action that I'm already taking. And I think that that's the big difference between it. So in this one, there's only 4 action spaces total you can go to. You get an extra bonus if you're the first one there. So you do want to try to like jump ahead and get those bonus actions. But then the cards are actually used to strengthen those actions. So there's a bunch of different things you do under each one of those little action categories. And you spend like the energy that your people have that you've collected in your deck to be able to perform those. And so this has a really cool element to it that like you can actually overspend and then run out of stuff to do if you have more workers left. And so you just have to kind of like sleep and do some other stuff. But I really enjoy that card play mixed with the worker placement board. And of course, there's a lot of other stuff on the side you can do. You can collect animals. You can slaughter those animals for cool abilities. You can also, there's like a little area control board where you get income if you have the majorities there. So there's a lot of really cool, fun stuff going on everywhere. And I really enjoy that deck building mixed with the worker placement and the way this one's done.
I do wonder if I'd enjoy this one. I wouldn't mind trying it.
I enjoy this one a lot too. I think this one's great. I mean, it won a lot of our awards this past year, deservedly so.
Sure did.
It won a lot of Dice Star Awards, and deservedly so, because it's a really great game. My number 24, well, it didn't win Dice Star Awards because I don't think we were doing awards at the time it came out. But if we were doing awards at the
Do you
time
have
it came
any
out,
games in this list that are like in the last decade?
Last Light came out a
Last
year
year.
ago.
Okay, that's fair.
Yes.
I'm trying to keep Jason modern.
Yes. Last
Other
Light
than
came out a
Last
year
Light,
ago.
do you have any games?
Final Girl came out like a couple years ago. But this one's an older one. This one's an oldie and a goodie. It's Princess of Florence. This
I've
one's
heard of
been,
this.
been reprinted a bunch of times since. It's basically an auction game. It's an auction game, and there's 7 different things you can auction each turn. And once you get something, you can't go for any of the other different things. So you have to decide which of the 7 things you really want. And there's only 7 turns in the game, so you're only going to get 7 total things in the whole game.
Oh, wow.
And you have to decide what you want in order to then build out you're building out a city and a tableau to score points based on objective cards. And the objective cards, you bid to get objective cards. You bid to get placing things that give you powers. You bid to get things that will score you more, because each turn you can score one of your cards, which you could bid to get more cards as well. And you score your cards based on how many forests you might have, or how many of this type of building you might have, or how many of this you might have. And each round, the amount of points you need to score goes up. So you really need to be building up your, sort of like your engine. You need to be building up as you go in order to be able to score cards later in the game, or else you could fail. But there are bonus cards that will give you some bonus points that you could just play a card that gives you bonus points, another thing you bid on.
Okay, I have a question about all these auctions. Are these auctions one that, like, if you don't win the auction, you get nothing?
No.
Or do you just get the leftovers that people don't want?
At the end, the last person, basically the minimum bid is 200. So the last person pays 200 and gets whatever choice they want of what's left. But this important thing, we might go up to like 1,200. And then later on, Roy might say, I'll take this other thing for 200. And
So I can be a cheapskate early on
you can.
if I want to be, because
Yes,
that sounds
you
stressful.
could be a cheapskate, because when you score these things, you're going to get a choice of how much you take in money versus how much you take in points. It's one of those games where
okay.
you decide how much of your scoring is in points or money, and it's in a 2-to-1 ratio. So for each point you give up, you get $200, which you're going to need for the bidding as you go.
Okay.
I love the amount of these games that Jason's been like giving an example and then throwing me in there as an example. And I'm like, Roy's not playing this game.
This one,
I might play it
think
once.
you'd like
I'll try
it.
plenty of things once.
It's a classic, and it's very well done, and it's an auction game mostly.
But not with you, because you'll probably crush me. You probably would crush me.
Probably, if you haven't played, and I have probably, but
Probably.
yeah, you're really good, so who knows?
But I need you to like forget how to play the game so we can go in at an even level, and then we'll try.
Well, do you know how to auction, Roy?
I need to meet the man in black so I can like,
Do I hear 5? Do I hear 10? Like that?
it's a once around auction or one time auction. So I'll just get the ones that Jason doesn't get.
Oh no, it's not a once around auction. It's a I bid 5, I bid 6, I bid 7,
Yeah,
I
but
bid
you can
8.
only win one thing. So if you I'll just get the
Yes.
one thing that no one wants, and that'll make me win. That'll make me win.
It does. You could do the cheapskate method and win, and you never have to actually. You could just
I'll
get
go
all
for
points.
the things that are worth a lot.
Yeah.
Later on in the round. Okay. All right. My number 24 is a Paul Denton game, a game that I love, and I've loved several games in this series, but this is the one that I'm putting in the place for all of them, and this is Clank Catacombs. I love Clank Legacy. I think it's a ton of fun. It's an amazing game with tons of storytelling, but I put Clank Catacombs in there because Clank Catacombs is extremely replayable, and I love the way this works. And I loved Clank with the boards, but now that you have all these like boards that are different every single time you play, and you're exploring the dungeon and like you're able to build it out, it just makes the game that much better. If you enjoy Clank or you have Clank and you're not on Clank Catacombs yet, you're wrong. You know, you should get Clank Catacombs just because it's so much fun.
You're wrong.
You're wrong. I mean, if you enjoy Clank
Yeah.
and you don't have this, you're wrong. But yeah, Clank in Space, Clank and all that stuff, they're all fun, but Clank Catacombs takes the cake for me. I just love the way the fact of like it builds out where you're mostly in Clank. You're trying to find a treasure, get gold and things like that, get points on your cards, and get back to the surface before like the dragon destroys everyone or kills you off. And it gets worse and worse after each person that escapes. The more and more cubes are going to be drawn out of your bag to kill you off. So the thing I love about this is the deeper and deeper you go in the dungeon, the better and better treasure you have, regardless of which direction you go. So it's like, okay, I can keep going. Oh, I can keep going, but you still have to figure out a way to get back out. And it has all the zaniness of like, oh, there's a teleporter here that can make me go over there, and I'm going over here to fight these things, and this waypoint allows me to move back over here and get extra gold for this. And it's like trying to push your luck, seeing how far you can go and get the biggest treasure you can to grab it and be like, I gotta get out of here. You know, I have a lot of fun too with the whole deck building aspect of this. It's really fun to be able to build up a deck that allows you to have lots of movement, have some cool actions, that allow you to fight off monsters in the little row there of cards. It's a lot of fun playing Clank, and I'm really excited that they're coming out with an expansion for this as well. So I can't wait for more Clank Catacombs.
This sounds like a heavier version of Ink and Gold.
It is in some ways. It's like a deck building version of Ink and Gold almost. You know.
Yeah,
have you not played Clank?
I've played basic Clank. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I would say more not Ink and Gold, but more like Deep Sea Adventure, that Oink game where you have to go
where
down.
You're like down,
and how quickly do you go up? Yes.
And you always drown.
But it's great. I mean, the deck building. I like these deck building games that took deck building and turned them into a board game. So I really like this as well.
Paul Dinn just makes just such solid games, and I think this is fun, and I can't wait to see what more he does with this system. So, Clank Catacombs, my number 24.
This is my 24th favorite game of all time.
In that case, let's just play mine.
Why?
Because this one is my number 23.
What?
My number 23 is another party game, because we are jamming out over here. This is Beyond Balderdash. This is one that I have had a hoot with. I know. What? Oh.
Wait, it's not.
Oh, wrong one. 23. I skipped a line. Spoilers.
Spoiler alert.
Mandala is 23. Shh. Now y'all know what my 22 is. Mandala. Also great game. So let's talk about this one instead. So this is a two-player game, and I'm hit or miss with games that are specifically for two players because they're usually this very intense head-to-head feel. But I love Mandala. So there's 7 colors, and as you're drawing cards and you're playing cards, you have to play up to 7 colors in this mandala circle, but those colors can only be in one of 3 spots. They can be in the mountain in the middle, or they can be in like your valley or whatever it is in front of you. And if the other player already has those colors, or if the mountain already has those colors, you can't put them in front of you. And you're basically doing this kind of like area control thing where you're trying to have the most cards on your side so that you can be first to pick stuff from the mountain. And then those go into scoring. And I love the scoring in this. So this is one of those games that as you, the first color that you collect in scoring, every one in the future of that color that you collect is going to be only worth 1 point. And then the next color that you collect, everything of that color will be worth 2 points. And so progressively you're trying to get more of the higher point colors. And so you're constantly making those decisions with each other. Like, well, you're trying to play cards so that you can get those better colors, and you're trying to make decisions of, do I want Roy to have, you know, an orange when that's worth 3 points to him, or do I want to take it because it's worth 6 points for me, but I don't want him to have those 3 points. I could take something else instead. Yeah. So it's really good decisions.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, this one's really good. I really enjoy this one also, and it's 2-player games. I know they don't sell as well as other games, but there's a lot of really good 2-player games on the market.
There are, and this one is just one of those that like almost any night I'd be like, oh, that sounds good. Let's play that one. Like I would be happy to play it almost any day.
Yes. Interestingly enough, my number 23 is also a 2-player game.
Then it's Mandala.
It's not Mandala.
We can only have Lightning Strike once, right?
Yes. Whenever that was, whatever game it was where we had the same game at the same number, which was great.
St. Petersburg.
It was St. Petersburg, yes. But this one's a older game. I was talking about Avalon Hill before, and this one's another Avalon Hill game, so I'm taking it back 30 years. It's kind of the forefather of point-to-point deck, like the card-driven games. It's Breakout Normandy.
Oh. Cool.
So this is kind of the forefather of the games like Twilight Struggle or 1960, The Making President.
You have a lot of that style of game.
Yeah, I like that style of game. In this one, you have obviously it's the Allies against the Axis, and it's the storming of the Normandy beach. And as the Allies, you're trying to, first of all, get your troops on, and then you're trying to cross the bridges and get into the cities to take over the cities. And as the Axis, you're trying to hold off and not let the Allies advance into France, basically. And it works very well. It's got a nice system where you could if you have the advantage, you win ties and you get a bunch of stuff. And the way the system works is it's this really neat thing where you roll 2 dice, and you each roll 2 dice, and the difference between the dice is how you determine. So if you roll a 12 and I roll a 2, that's really good, versus if you roll a 12 and I roll a 10. So it's really neat, and it is a slower moving game because you're slowly moving out, and it represents everything that happened. You know, the rain comes, everything comes, the different troops come in at the times that the troops come in, so it gives you a very historical vibe of what was in the history of combat. It's one of the most famous, the storming of Normandy is one of the most famous battles, and you get to recreate it.
I'm glad you have like some of these different games on your list, because like I don't think any of the rest of us like across the entirety of top 100s have like any like war chit games. You know, moving little chits around like that. So that's kind of cool. Yeah. So my number 23, and I'm the only person that has this on my list. Period. The designers don't even have this on their list.
Are you sure?
I'm definitely
Now I
sure.
wanna know what this is.
This is a miniatures game, and this is a miniatures game that almost nobody plays. It's out of print at this point, but I love this game. I have every bit of everything for it. And this is the Rune Wars miniatures game. I really enjoy the mechanics in this game. It has this it's point builds of armies. You have trays of armies that you're doing. You have like templates to be able to move your different armies around. It's got all these cool, gigantic fantasy monsters that you're clashing with each other against. But the main thing I love about this is the initiative system in this game. Each unit, depending on the actual action you pick, has a different speed. And at the beginning of each round, you're like, okay, do you have any units with a 1 speed? Nope. Okay. Anybody have any units with a 2 speed? Oh, I have a 2. Okay, move your 2. All right, do we have any 3? We both have 3. Okay, I have initiative this round. I'll move my 3 first, then do my 4. And it adds this dynamic of like, you can get a jump on your opponent by picking the correct speed of movement and outthinking your opponent. And then on top of this, it also has a really cool like dice action system. It has like custom dice that you use, and for each tray wide, you get more, you get to multiply the dice that your unit rolls. And each tray back, you get re-rolls on those dice to help you mitigate those. It also has like point buys for a ton of different cool special abilities. So every single unit has cool special abilities. Every single unit you can upgrade with different cool upgrades, very like X-Wing-ish, I guess. They have certain like categories of cards they can do. Just tons and tons and tons of depth in this game that is like completely out of print. Nobody really plays it. I did tournaments for this game and I had a lot of fun with that, and I have lots and lots of it. I painted up a ton of my miniatures. I just really enjoy it, and I played it with my dad a couple times as well.
Were those your painted minis in that picture?
No, I should have actually. I was looking for some. I should have grabbed some of my painted miniatures or whatever. But like, I did spend a decent amount of time actually painting them up. So I really enjoy the way that they look, and I just love the sculpts in this game too. But yeah, I don't think anybody's going to be bringing this back. I don't know if anybody's going to play it.
Does Mike Heller have it? This is the question.
But I still really want to play this even more. So
Yeah,
I need to pull my copy out and play it with people.
They did do a reprint of this. I want to say it was like, what, 6 years ago?
No, I mean, it's literally just the same game.
It was before COVID. They had done a reprint.
Yeah, but they didn't like change anything up.
No, they didn't.
Like it was another print run, or
yeah,
it was like
it was like I guess second edition. I think,
no, this is they've only had this. They've only had this. Yeah.
Then it was the same one, but they just brought it back. So who knows? Maybe Fantasy Flight will bring it back a third time.
Oh, I don't know about all that. I don't know if it makes profitable sense. I just wanted to play it with people. So I've taken this to like Dice Tower East in the past and been like, hey, I know you don't know this game, but let's play. I should do that at like the retreat, like make some armies and play. Because I've done my Epic Battle Lore, and this kind of gives that same sort of vibe. I really enjoy Rune Wars miniatures game. It's so much fun to play. But yeah, my number 23.
That's a catch. 22.
Catch 22. All right. Well, reversing back in time and then forward in time, my party game for 22.
Should we make up a definition for this one?
Yeah, is Beyond Balderdash. This is a party game that I have a ton of fun with. Honestly, I wish I pulled it out more because I feel like I really enjoy this one, and I don't know why it doesn't get to the table as much as it should. So when I was making this list, I was really craving to play this. So Balderdash, I grew up playing it, and honestly, my family was terrible at it. It's like my mom would give a dictionary definition for a word, and I would attempt to, and then my siblings and my dad would just write like 2-word definitions, and it capsized and failed. And then in college, I was reintroduced to it, and then with some friends, I was reintroduced, and they added this beyond element to it, where you are trying to write not just definitions to words, but also like plot summaries to really bad movies that no one knows about, or like obscure, strange laws that are on the books somewhere in the world. And so you're just making up all of this ridiculousness because you know everything on the cards are going to be ridiculous and weird. And so I think that it takes a game that's like, oh, that's kind of a clever game, but fails with humans, to something that is just more fun, and that you can be really creative with the weird stuff that you come up with. So this one's fun. We should play this again, man.
I like it when it's like shorter things and things like that. When it's like, write an entire screenplay. I'm like, I don't want to write paragraphs of stuff.
I do wish that you could like add stuff into some sort of app so that it could like spell check for you and make the vision readable. You know what I mean?
I have to pull it's hard. It's hard.
That app would be Jackbox because they have a version. Yeah. They have a game that's like Balderdash in Jackbox,
that's fair. That would
where
be
you could
perfect.
type in your stuff and
well.
do it. But Balderdash, we play this. We play this in either spectaculars or 24-hour marathons.
We do sometimes,
we've played this, and it's still in the library, so hopefully
I have a copy of it. Like,
Yeah.
I forget about it, and I just was recently reminded of it, and I was like, yes, this is a good one.
It is a good
I
one.
have good memories.
Yeah, like C22. What does that mean?
C22?
Yeah.
Catch 22?
No, it's actually a law in Florida where Jason gets to talk about his game 22.
Jason's making up.
I'm just making up a fact because we're in Balderdash mode.
Yes.
So my number 22, getting back to the Cult of the New, is yes, Fibbage is the game. That's like Balderdash. That's the one.
It is.
In Jackbox.
But it doesn't have plot summaries.
So my number 22 is Cult of the New, or Cult of the, I guess, semi-new, because it came out at Essen. It's one that I, just like last night, I rated highly in my top 10 of last year. It's Paths of Civilization.
Wow, that's awesome. Simultaneous play, son.
Yes, I absolutely adore this. I'm a big fan of Through the Ages, and I'm a big fan of Seven Wonders. And I kind of call this if Through the Ages and Seven Wonders kind of had a baby, Paths of Civilization would be the game that would come out of the two of them having a baby, because it has kind of the style of...
Do they roll a bunch of dice and make foxes?
No, it doesn't.
Okay.
It doesn't, but it should. But it's got great mechanisms. You're kind of getting cards, very Seven Wonder style, and then you're using them to either use them to go up charts to get better cards, or to use them for the resources to go and put stuff out on the resources part of the game. And you have to take care of all these different things, fighting and this and that, and it just works really well. Funny enough, it's sort of a crossover because I don't know if you realize this, but the designer Francois is also the designer of So Clover. So we have a pseudo crossover.
They're basically the same game.
Basically the same. To go from a party game to this and to create both of these games is really, really ingenious to have a good enough design technique to design two completely different games, and they're both really good.
If you play Path of Civilization at your birthday party this next week, Is it a party game?
It would be, yes.
This is another game that I saw a ton of at BGG Spring that I just came back from, and yeah, I mean, just that simultaneous play is so fun. I enjoyed this game, and I'm not normally, I mean, it's the thing, I just like the way it's simultaneous, you know?
Yes.
And it's got a little bit of that Civilization vibe. You're like figuring out how to like move up these tracks and do this, and how to beat somebody on the little war track things. It's fun. So, but yeah, good stuff. My number 22 is a game I've been playing tabletop games like my whole life, but this is one of the games that just made me turn away from Magic the Gathering, turn away from like playing RPGs as much or miniatures games as much, and I really went all in on board games. And this is one of the few like cooperative-ish games that I'm just like, board games can do that? That's wild. And this is Shadows over Camelot. I really enjoy this. This is a cooperative game with a hidden traitor, but you are working together. It's just poker hand suits that you're trying to do to go on these different quests, but there can be a traitor in your midst that is trying to be inefficient and mess things up. You can go to one spot where you're literally just discarding cards to bring the Excalibur towards you. You have this track where you're trying to build up all of these grails to be able to find the Holy Grail. And then the whole time there's these catapults that are coming in the city, and you can spend cards to give you bonuses on your die roll action to be able to try to beat away, like fight off the catapults. You're trying to have it so that Camelot doesn't fall. And you're all working together, and you're like, all right, well, instead of drawing a bad card this time, I'm going to take a damage. And then someone's like, oh, I'm not taking a damage. I'm like, you're at full life. You're like, oh, I'm not taking a damage. You're like, traitor. And maybe they're just, not actually the traitor. They're just that way. But it's so much fun. I've had so many fun games of playing Shadows over Camelot, and so many moments of being the traitor and just completely messing people up. There was one game I played of this where I'm like, oh, awesome, we got to the end of the game, and now we win as long as no one is the traitor, and then we would flip over 3 white swords to black swords, and then we would have lost the game. But nobody in this game is a traitor, because it doesn't necessarily have a traitor. Like, nobody here's a traitor, right? Nobody here's a traitor. They're like, no, we're not a traitor. I'm like, oh, wait, I'm the traitor. And it's just this crazy, fun moments. And I played a game of this with my dad, where he just pretended to not know what was going on almost the entire game. I'm like, Dad, I know you're not this bad at games. Like, I know you're getting a little bit older, but I'm getting a little bit worried here. He was the traitor the whole time, and he was just trying to throw inefficiency.
That only works once, right?
That only works once.
Yes.
He was trying to throw inefficiency into the game by like making simple mistakes and things like that. But it worked so well, and he wrecked us in the game, and it was a ton of fun. But yeah, I love Shadows over Camelot for those memorable moments, and I've had so much fun with it. So, yeah.
So I think the ones that I like that hidden traitor games is I like when there's a reason that other people are doing weird stuff. Do other people have reasons for doing stuff that doesn't make streamlined sense?
I mean, you're not allowed to see each other's cards and things like that.
Yeah.
But I do think you do still have to bluff a little bit and be like, oh, cool, I'm going to go over here to this quest, even though you really don't care if the quest is good, I mean, so you have to like downplay it a little bit, but, or you can like try to rush through and win specific things, so that way, when that stored card comes up, it's going to do bad things instead of doing good things like it normally would, So you can mix it up in different ways if you know the game well.
It's a really neat game. I mean, I think, I'm trying to think, this
fact
came
that-
out before Battlestar Galactica, and I think it's the first game that wasn't werewolf necessarily, that brought in that kind of hidden traitor into a full board game.
And the funny thing is, this is one of those games where you can actually like jump in and out of with multiple people. Like,
Yes.
It plays like up to like 7 or something crazy.
Oh,
and
really?
you can like bring people into the game and have people leave the game, and it still works, which is crazy for like this
Even if
size
the
of game.
traitor leaves?
Even if the traitor leaves, then you're still
That's
playing
all
the game
good?
because the game can still wreck you by itself.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
You could just lose the game because it's a co-op, and it could be fully co-op or it could be partially co-op, and you don't
I
know.
like that aspect of not knowing as well. I know Tom likes to shuffle it so that there's always a traitor in the game.
Yeah.
But then there's the interesting aspect of like thinking that maybe
Because sometimes
it's all
it feels
good.
too good to be true, right?
Yeah.
You're like,
It's like, oh man, we have a game where no one's a traitor until that moment when they are the traitor, and you're
can't
like,
fully
wait a
trust
minute,
anybody.
wait a minute. I love it. But
That's
yeah,
cool.
my number 22, Shadows over Camelot.
I'm Ian,
I'm Stacy.
and we are Where There's a Wills, There's a Play. This is Dice Towers,
Top 100.
number 21.
All right, well, I promised you lots of party games. My last one is also a party game, and this is Telestrations.
Nice.
Just really on a party game kick
Ooh.
right now, right?
Well, this is like a party game section here.
Yes.
It really is. But Telestrations is one of those games that I played way before it was a board game, and I was just played it on a piece of paper. You came up with a weird sentence like, Roy turned into a cow and jumped over the moon made of cheese, right? And you just do that back and forth of write a sentence, draw a picture. Someone doesn't know what the original sentence is, so they make up another sentence or another word based on that. And I love this concept. And this is one that I pull out and I play with the teenagers at church. I pull out and play with friends. I love when we have our little party game days. Like, this is one that I always want to play.
Nice.
I love the creativity, and this one's better if you have bad drawings.
Yeah, that's the thing I love
so much
about
more
this game.
fun. And I love having friends play it together because you just see how, especially if you're writing sentences, you just see how concepts change and grow, and the people in the room become a part of, the pictures and stuff. I love it so much.
We were playing this because I see this from our video. How did couch potato turn into tray of poop is what I really want to know.
Listen, you see what you see sometimes. Sometimes you see what you see.
It's just funny how when something turns from one thing into a completely different thing, it's what makes this game so great.
There's no stinky symbols. Of course,
No.
There was a stinky symbol.
No, but
I have rarely ever played Telestrations without crying laughing.
Yes.
I'm laughing so hard that I'm crying. And like you said, it actually benefits the game if you're bad at drawing. Yeah. It's awesome to have those moments where it switches up because people look at that and they're like, why did they write that? You go back and look at it and you're like, oh my goodness! And it just makes for those moments that are hilarious. This is one of those games where most people don't even keep score. They don't care at all. It's just the whole telephone thing, the whole thing of doing the telephone activity with drawing is so much fun.
Doing that and seeing the funny ones is great, but every once in a while when you actually get this thing to go around completely and you get the same thing at the end at the beginning, you feel super accomplished, wow, we did it and got the word around.
No, you don't.
I do.
Okay, so the very first time I played the actual board game version of it, my word was ice cube. Do you know how hard it is to mess up an ice cube?
Like the rapper?
No,
You drew him?
Yes, I drew the rapper.
Yes.
That would be awesome. If somebody wrote Ice Cube, I would draw the rapper.
My thing never changed. Of course, it was super easy. It was you draw a cube and it melts a little bit, and that was it. And
but for the person who can't draw very well, someone might say box, and then all of a sudden ice cube turns into a box or something else. And that's what makes it interesting.
Yeah, it's awesome.
So my number 21 is not really a party game, but it's a fun game. It's one that I enjoy a lot. And I remember playing the original version when it came out. And then this newer version came out, and I was like, ooh, they changed the theme, and it's even cooler now.
This isn't Archaeo Society, is it?
No, it's not Archaeo Society.
No,
it's Small World.
Oh, okay.
Nice.
So I remember playing the original game Vinci, which was obviously set in the Mediterranean with actual metal worker, and they were all kind of trading in the Mediterranean themed kind of characters. And then Days of Wonder decided to reprint this with a fantasy theme, and it's gone over so well with the fantasy theme. And it's just a great little area control game. You're going out, you're trying to spread as much as you can and destroy everyone else. But if you spread too far, you could get destroyed, and you eventually need to say, okay, I'm giving up on this. I'm bringing out a whole new thing, and I'm going to spread again. And it's all about just spreading all over that map. And it is such a fun game. And we still have, actually, I don't know if we do anymore. We had the deluxe version in the library, but I don't know if it's been.
We do.
It's still in the library. Okay.
It only goes to East.
I didn't know if it got moved into our permanent big game section, but it's one that someone asked me to play this at the last retreat, and I'm like, yeah, and I played it and still have so much fun with the game. And we played it with the big version just because we're like, if this big version's in the library, we have to use the big version.
Right?
So you have the Epic version too, right?
Yes, I do. Yes, I have the Epic version at home.
Yeah, I have the World of Warcraft version of this. I need to play Small World more because I feel I don't know. I just need to play it more. I have only played it a few times, So I'm like, man, I should try to pull this out.
It's fun. World of Warcraft version's a lot of fun too. I have that too.
Just don't go into decline.
Don't go into decline.
Yes.
My 21 is kind of a shock how high up this has gotten, because we are way up in the numbers now. And this is a game that was originally kind of like an LCG, even though it's not branded LCG. But you build your own decks. It was designed by Isaac Vega, but then they had a new person come in and make a cooperative version of the game, and that's why this is so high for me, because now I can play this game solo, I can play it cooperatively. This is Ashes, but specifically with the Red Rains solo stuff. So I'm putting Red Rain's box cover on here because this is basically what added in all of the solo stuff for the game. But I've been reviewing these and really having a blast with it. Ashes is such a thinky, heady game, and I've always enjoyed the fact of, like, you start with the first five cards that you want to with your deck. You can build your deck the way you want to, and that you have to have the core set and this. I wish that they came out with, like, a new, like, onboarding of just like the cooperative game, like a couple decks, a couple chimera, and different ways to max it up or mix it up, and then everything you need to play the game with, like dials for life, because now they have a ton of tokens. I'm getting tired of being like one token, now switch those 2 ones out for a 5, and now another token, and it's like there's so many tokens. But I really enjoy playing this solo, and I've had a blast with it. And Ashes is just such a solid game with amazing art that I feel like has been lost by most people. So if you enjoyed Ashes back in the day, or if you haven't played Ashes at all, I would suggest checking out this Red Rains cooperative mode, especially if you enjoy things like Marvel Champions and stuff like that. This is a blast.
I need to check this out. I played Ashes, the first version, when it came out, before Plaid Hat was bought, and then obviously after they got resold off or respun off, they did Ashes Reborn, and I haven't played the new version. I've only played the original versions. I haven't collected any of the new stuff. But now that you're saying there's also co-op modes and it's not just a versus game.
They have I think they have 4, they have this box, and then I think they might have either 3 or 4 more bosses you can fight against. And each one of those boss packs comes with another deck to play with as well. So it's really
nice.
Cool. Really
cool. I have to get back into this again.
Yeah. So that's my number 21.
Very cool. Well, thanks for joining us today. Remember to check out the World Series of Board Gaming in Las Vegas this September, as well as our Summer Spectacular in 2 weeks. So I'm Wendy Yee.
Jason Levine, the Gaming Machine.
And I'm Roy Canning.
Have fun playing games.
Happy birthday to us.
Hey everybody, thanks for watching another video from the Dice Tower. Hey, you want to learn more about us, communicate with us? We have a Facebook group, we have a Discord channel, lots of different ways to get involved with the Dice Tower. You can find that in our Linktree link below. So just click that, it will take you and you can communicate with us on Facebook, join our Facebook groups. There's lots of cool things that you can find and become part of the Dice Tower. Thanks so much for watching. I'm Tom Vassell.